Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about my presentation on the question, what is art? For this project, I chose three artists whose work explores everyday life, identity, and human experiences in different ways. Even though their styles are, very different, they all kind of show that art can communicate ideas and emotions beyond just creating something visually appealing. So before talking about the artists, I want to briefly explain my own ideas about art. I think artists make art to express their ideas, emotions, and experiences. They also use art to communicate messages, tell stories, or inspire people to think differently. I also think art reflects culture by showing the beliefs, the values, the traditions, and just everyday life of a society. It helps people understand how different communities and different time periods viewed the world. And then finally, I believe art is preserved and protected because it's an important part of history and cultural heritage. Keeping artwork safe allows future generations to learn from it and, appreciate it. So the first artist I chose is Raymond Pettibon. His work often combines handwritten text with black and white drawings, letting viewers create their own interpretations. So the first artwork I chose doesn't have a title, but in parentheses it says, "Or Could I?" It shows a large wave with handwritten text above it. I consider this a work of art because it creates emotion while leaving its meaning open to interpretation. I choose this piece because it shows how something as simple as a wave can, become meaningful, and, when it's combined with words, instead of giving one clear message, it encourages viewers to think for themselves, Second artwork is also untitled, but says "Map to Stars" in parentheses. It shows a woman sitting in a red car while a man stands in front of her, along with handwritten text that changes how the scene is interpreted. I chose this work because it feels like a single moment taken from a much larger story. Kind of demonstrates that art can tell a story and speak and, spark curiosity without explaining everything. But yeah. The second artist I chose is Janine and Antony. Unlike Pettibon, Antony often uses performance and unusual materials to explore identity, memory, and the human body. The first artwork I chose is Paper Dance from 2018. This live performance uses large sheets of brown craft paper that move and change throughout the performance, becoming part of the artwork itself. I chose this piece because it challenged my idea of what, art can be. It showed that it doesn't have to be a painting or a sculpture. The movement, the materials, the interaction with the performer and the audience, it's all part of the artwork, the artistic experience. The second artwork is Lick and Lather from 1993. It consists of 7 self-portrait busts made from chocolate and 7 made from soap. Antony changed each sculpture by licking the chocolate and washing the soap, gradually altering her own image. I chose this work because it represents how people change over time and how identity is never completely fixed. I also like how she used ordinary materials, everyday materials, in a creative and in a meaningful way. And then the final artist I chose is Tabe Imo. She's a Japanese contemporary artist known for creating animated video installations about modern life. The first artwork is Japanese Commuter Train from 2001. This is an animated installation that presents an ordinary train ride, but, strange and surreal events start happening. By turning a familiar daily experience into something unsettling, the artwork encourages the viewers to, think differently about everyday life. I chose this piece because it shows how animation can communicate ideas just as powerfully as a traditional painting or sculpture or drawing. And then finally, the second artwork is Public Convenience from 2006. This animated video installation takes place inside a public restroom, but the familiar setting slowly becomes distorted and dreamlike. I chose this artwork because it transformed an ordinary place into something unexpected. It encourages viewers to, look at everyday spaces from a completely different perspective, and it shows how technology can be used to create immersive works of art. But yeah, after completing this project, my idea of art changed a bit. Before the project, I mostly thought of art as paintings or drawings, sculptures, things that, were kind of made to look cool or look good. But, now I understand art can be anything. It can be performances, it can be video installations, works made from everyday materials like chocolate and soap and paper, It could be anything, And I think what makes something art isn't just the materials or, the way it looks, but it's the ideas, it's the emotions, and the conversations that it creates. Looking at these artists, I feel like showed me that art can tell stories, it can reflect culture, and just encourages people to see the world in new ways. So, yeah.